shift, battle from the cradle to the grave, bitch. Big mad how they face tense, look both ways for you catch fade. I'm a nice guy on the inside, still I'm not somebody to be played with. Keep it all the way 1,000. I don't remember how the ground feels. I left the city, I've been browsing, treading water that they drowning. My head on the swivel, yeah. It's only really my surroundings. They keep it all the way 1,000. I don't remember how the ground feels. I left the city, I've been browsing, treading water that they drowning. My head on the swivel, yeah. It's only really my surroundings. Can't stop, won't stop, till I tour the world when the glow track. Then a nigga dope at the stove top. Type of shit they hide in a tube sock. I done skip town on a new block, but I'm still around, nigga, just not. Better hold it down when the group drop, where I kick down for the crowd, a balloon pop. Let they come around for my moolah. Better run them out of town for they hoopla. Queen, she a hun like Mulan. Everything the hoes what they were, but they just not. They be right up in your face with the fake stop. They be thinking it's a game, but it's just not. They be thinking we the same, but they subpar. You from drug through the mud when the flood stop, pull up. Hey, I feel amazing. Pyramid scheme, how I play the angle. I send it to your girl, but I make a facelift. This is your brain on the rich. Wait, I be hella wild, but you can't tame me. Got the keys to the cradle with no cable. Smelling like basil. Yeah, I got the flavor. I ain't got no patience. Kept it with a savor. I be on it nerve, but that shit painful. Looking sour when I serve, how that shit tasted. Show a conversation. Giving waves to the nation. The flotation, it's outrageous. Righteous with the sound, but a finger razor to the whole nation. Yelling out fuck 12 till they throw me in the cell. But a nigga make bail for the young and rebellious generation. Keep it all the way 1,000. I don't remember how the ground feels. I left the city, I've been browsing, treading water that they drowning. My head on the swivel, yeah. It's only really my surroundings. They keep it all the way 1,000. I don't remember how the ground feels. I left the city, I've been browsing, treading water that they drowning. My head on the swivel, yeah. It's only really my surroundings.
We got another dev update, January 2022, posted on the 19th. What's good? 2 days ago. This one up 2 days ago. I haven't looked at it because I was saving it for the stream. But from my experience with New World, I honestly don't think they're gonna recover this game. I mean, I'm partially cashed out already at the point where I'm not investing nearly the same amount of time as I was before. And yeah, to be honest, the game's stale. You know, and I'm not saying stale because, you know, I have. How do you check your in-game time? Let me get some. No, but there's a better way. Hold on, let me look at the command. Usually it's something like /played. Yeah. Okay. 36 days, 8 hours, 33 minutes, and 37 seconds. So I have a month of playtime. You know, a bit over a month. So, I mean, as far as achievements go, like, I'm pretty well... I'm not going to say I'm the most, like, stacked fucking player out there. I'm not. But I definitely have a lot more than, like, a lot of these people claiming on fucking... on the forums. They, like, apparently everyone has over 1,000 hours, and apparently everyone has war wins, finished out fucking the duelist, and have over 200 wins on Outpost Rush, and then they have over the 10,000, every single one of them, but no one wants to post the achievements. It's crazy. It's fucking weird. You know what I mean? Like I'll put my shit out there. I don't really care. You know, I've done it. This shit isn't hard. You know, it's really not that hard. But a lot of people are full of shit. They probably are sitting around like 300 hours, which is fine. You know, if you're gonna play the game at a casual pace, more power to you. You're gonna enjoy it longer in the long run. But we don't need content for players like me to continue playing. Right? We need the game to feel good. That's it. That's literally all you need. If the game is running smoothly and is working as you would expect a fucking AAA title to work, we won't care. Like, we'll play the shit out of that game, you know? So to me, it's like right now, New World's in this spot where veteran players are leaving before a lot of casuals, and then casuals are getting to the later game and they're just kind of like, this is boring. So, hold on. I should probably post this here. Hold on. Give me like 2 seconds and then we'll start ripping into this shit. I don't know. The dev stream might be the exact opposite of what I'm saying. They could just be like, "Oh, this is gonna be amazing." All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. Enough typing. Enough typing. Enough typing. Let's get this bad boy rolling. Now, I'm going to be extra critical because a lot of people are on the out. People are leaving. There's new games coming up, and I'm probably going to be one of them. If they're not, like, if this is anything other than, you know, we're nerfing the shit out of VG today, I don't know, man. Let's see. It's a little loud. I'll turn it down a little bit. What's up, Greg? What do you mean there's no sound on the video? How come it's triggering on the... Wait. Whoa. Hold up. Let me mute that. How come it's triggering on the OBS, but it's not on the stream? What? Okay, yeah. Continue. Oh, Oh, that's right. Did we have this issue last time where I had to open Chrome? I think I had to open Chrome. Okay, my bad. On OBS, it shows that it's working perfectly fine, mind you. Ugh, fucking Chrome. No, go back. Okay. Man, that's fucking annoying. I don't know why Opera GX is so sensitive. Everything. It's great at everything except for this one fucking thing. That's it. This is the only problem that I've had with Opera GX. It's so fucking weird. Chrome. Yeah, I don't know why they're like that. All right, here we go. Let me know if sound check it. Did you sound check it? Why the fuck is it silent? What the fuck is going on here? Okay, what is Chrome's under VAO, right? Yeah, VAO. So I'm gonna mute that.
Community team, and I'm joined by Scott Lane, the game director.
What about now?
And we heard you loud and clear that you like.
That works. Okay, I'll do that. All right, let's get this cracking. What do you mean you're completely silent?
Hi, everybody. My name's Greg.
Is it too many fucking audios? Is that what it is? That sounds crazy. I don't think that would be it. Okay, let me fucking remove these, I guess. I don't know. That's fucking weird. Why is OBS so fucking weird? Okay, well, go into here. Maybe I just need to move these to a whole different ass screen or some shit. Okay, say something. See if it works. Do you hear yourself? I don't know why you don't hear yourself. It's triggering on OBS.
Greg Henniger. I am a.
Talk. What the fuck is going on, man? This is so fucking annoying. It's toxic. Audio is the one thing I don't want to fucking have to sit around and fuck with. So it should be under aux. There. I added a whole ass thing. Say something.
Something.
You hear yourself now?
Yep.
A member of the community team, and I'm joined by Scott Lane, the game director. And we heard you loud and clear that
Everything's
you liked the
working
last
now.
one, and so we're here to do another dev update video.
Jesus
We're going to try our best to keep it a little bit shorter this time, but still go into what you're interested in. We're also going to be talking more about current news, things that is coming, in the near future.
One of the things that I want to address about a dev update is its damage fucking control. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
When you're doing these implementations of direct contact between the developer and the actual community, it's to control the fucking damage, right? When you've done irreparable damage, this is your one way of going, hey, listen, we're not that bad. We're doing the best we can. Have a face to identify these issues with. You know what I mean? So they're trying to alleviate a lot of the fucking damage because they lost way over 90% of their fucking player base. Now when you do your dev updates and it's damage control, as long as you're addressing a lot of the issues that your community is talking about and you're working towards a specific goal and progressing forward, very good. But if your dev updates seem, yeah, by the way, we're doing this, and you're just ignoring your fucking community, it's not getting any work done. So he just said that he's heard us loud and clear. So let's
January, we're going to deep dive into January. The PTR, what you can
one thing I really hope that they address is why they haven't touched bots whatsoever.
expect.
Yeah.
I would
how we
love to
use
hear
it
an
on our
excuse
team.
about that.
February is really about bugs and polish. We're going to deep dive into that. Then we're going to have
That
Dave
should have
V
been
back
January,
on to talk about
not
weapon
February.
balance and future things coming to the weapons. And at the end of the show, we're going to have questions from you, the community, and from our creators.
Yeah, and you might notice we're unmasked, and I just want to make sure everyone is clear that we take COVID very seriously. Everyone you see today will have been tested within the last 24 hours and cleared.
Yeah, I don't think anyone gives
What?
a
I wanna
fuck
echo
about
what
that,
Greg
Scott.
touched on. The last video came out.
Why is he giving a call out for that?
Yeah.
Do everything we can to keep this thing to 45 minutes.
What?
We will try.
Because I think he's out there in fucking left field, man. I
We'll
don't know why
definitely try.
he's being a game director.
We just we're extending the winter conversion.
No one, if anyone, listen, if you fucking watch this and you're like, why aren't they wearing masks?
We thought that
Leave a comment down below.
Didn't get the opportunity to play over the break, so we thought we'd leave.
I expect no fucking comments.
Give more people the chance to experience.
I won't be happy.
So did you
Somehow
jump in
I'm
and
not
change the
surprised.
playstyle at all?
Watched it twice, you won't be happy.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Honestly, I've heard nothing but bad shit, and I've been away from the forums as much as I could because I don't want fucking spoilers. In all honesty, I think Roblox is a better fucking investment than New World right now.
I mean, probably one of the
That's
things-
fucking trash, bro. So
when you
Let's see
get
what
to
they
the
say.
higher levels of the game, the mid to end game, you don't really go through those starter zones. You find yourself just kind of fast traveling around them.
Right.
This got me running through, and they actually felt different. You know, seeing the lost presence on the ground, and if you just happen to be lucky enough to see
okay, first of all, who in their right goddamn mind went looking at the starter zones for Gleamite and those fucking rat presents? No one that I knew. Everyone just went out and did their normal shit, and if I happened to come across, they happened to do it. You know, I didn't know a single fucking person that was like, you know what, guys? I need to go to First Light for some of these fucking rat presents. You didn't add life to your fucking starter zone. Shut the fuck
it was
up.
a wow moment. It felt really cool. And even the winter festivals, going
damn,
over
dude.
to those locations and getting those special rewards, it just created a lot of like fun and reminded me how cool the world is and how easy it is to get lost in the world. So I really liked that. You know,
Yeah,
it was cool.
yeah, I loved the like
I
Aurora
haven't been
Borealis
lost in
that
the
was
world
sky,
since I
and
was
it
like
kind of just
level
gave
20.
New World this
Yeah.
fresh paint. So if you guys haven't checked it out, you should definitely jump in. So this is going to be a great episode, and let's get started.
Yeah, we're super excited.
Deep dive, January update.
All right, and now
Here
we
we
are
go.
joined by Mike Willett, the World Experience lead.
I will add, there's a lot of new information, such as the orbs and stuff. I think the orbs is somewhat in a good direction. That's just an AFK ticker. The orbs is going in a good direction. I did see that posted on the fucking forums. So there are some things that they're doing in January update. I don't know if this dev update
And Dave
has the
Verifai, the
new
creative
PTR
director.
shit
So
released.
this first question is going to be for you, Dave. What are some of the main features
In the
that
video
we're
and
going to
shit.
be able to expect coming in January?
There's two main features we're releasing with January. The first is obviously mutators. We talked about it a little bit last time.
Yep.
Mutators are a way to sort of enhance.
Is
and
anyone
make the
excited about
expedition
mutators? I'm not.
experience even more challenging, right? So there's 10 difficulty levels that players sort of climb through over time, and as they do that, not only do the enemies get harder, but we add new challenges like the curses. And what we're seeing in PTR is that, you know, we release the first set
Let me
of
see what that
mutators, right?
blowback
Those are,
thing
of
was.
Mutators, right? There's a rotators, and
Cursed blowback backfire using ability to deplete global affliction. When the affliction is depleted, a zone is cast on all players, which silences players in the area. After affliction expires, the zone detonates, dealing fire damage to the players in the radius. Truncated. While silent zones are active, all players lose natural mana regeneration. Standing in silent zone grants a large amount of mana regeneration. So it sounds like they're hurting mages, and you can't fuck with rapier now. And if that's one of the fucking drawbacks, because rapier just pisses through its fucking ability cooldowns, and so does spear. So we're literally just going to see the same thing that we've always seen, which is like great axe, hammer. And then you'll have, like, I guess mages were one of the most powerful, but you'll see more bows now. More bows, muskets.
What we're seeing in PTR is
but
that,
muskets are kind of shit
we
right now
released
for
the
expeditions.
First set, of mutators, right? There's a rotation that they go through. So those will change every week and bring new challenges. And the dungeons that are being mutated will change. So it's a way to sort of increase the challenge of expeditions and also sort of continue to add variety over time as we sort of shuffle the schedule and shuffle which expeditions are being mutated.
Nice. Mike, is there anything that might not be considered a main feature like mutators that we should still be excited about coming to January?
Yeah, absolutely. So because, mutators are being released, we want players to be able to
They also talked about how they fix a bunch of desync stuff. So
get to those locations quicker. So we've added 6 additional spirit shrines throughout Eternum. So a lot of those are going to be co-located.
6 more shrines.
Obviously, which expeditions are getting mutations, but also towards the endgame content like arenas. So look for those. In addition to that, we reduced the cost of fast travel, so it won't cost as much as off.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that was one
and
thing that
this one's
sounded
for you,
pretty
Dave.
dope. They
So why did you decide
actually
to introduce
really
a new
reduce fast
resource
travel
instead of just increasing the gear score? I know a lot of people are talking about that.
Yeah, that's a great question, and that sort of gets to the second main feature we released here, which is the Umbral upgrade system. So players will be upgrading their gear via Umbral materials, and we did that rather than just sort of introduce gear that goes to 625 organically in the world.
Okay.
So
one thing I will add. This is better than them actually releasing hard 625 gear, because now you're not hunting for those rolls all fucking over again, right? Now you upgrade them, So I think the Umbral system itself was good to implement instead of just increasing the fucking gear score. My problem with it is it's too fucking early, and the only access point is either the gypsum or the fucking mutations, which is kind of like, well, why? Right? Why wouldn't you have any PvP form? Because now gear score is a factor in damage mitigation.
Validate all the gear
Makes no
that people
fucking
have
sense.
acquired already, right? So people that have acquired their really cool 600 legendary, or even now we've announced the 590 cool gear, can use Umbral to upgrade. So they can sort of continue to invest in what they've acquired already and sort of build the power of that, rather than have to go out and get completely new gear. So I think it's a sort of a cool new pattern, and it creates another cool resource that players can get through, mainly mutators, but also through the gypsum casts and crafting. So we're trying to integrate a lot of different ways to get this resource into the game.
Is it going to affect the expertise system at all?
Yeah, so it's a great question. So expertise we're raising the cap of expertise to 625, and we're sort of integrating the expertise and gypsum together. So as you use gypsum to increase your gear after 600, each point upgrade that you get will also increase your expertise. So that's how you'll increase your expertise past 600. Previous to 600, it'll be the current means.
Wait. We have expertise 625 now? I thought it just went to 600. Now we have 625? Jesus fucking
the bumps
Christ,
you
dude.
get in the world, things like that. But after that,
So,
the Umbral system.
this is the reason why I was freaking out over that. Because this means, I'm assuming this means you can get gear that drops at 625, right? So if you can get gear that drops at 625, that means anyone that's farming the fuck out of mutations is now going to find the newer drops, the nicer drops. They better have on here, yeah, Yeah, that's the problem though. It shouldn't be that way. I thought the Umbral shards were just increasing one of the items that you have. I didn't know that it increases the cap. It shouldn't fucking increase the cap. Right? How is crafting ever gonna fucking catch up? Like, how is crafting catching up? If they release a new fucking resource, it just makes it more difficult for crafting to push further. Do they have to fucking, like, what? If they use Umbral, so it increases the minimum for the fucking station? What the fuck?
Okay, awesome. And
dude, this is so
I know a lot of people have been talking about this next question, so of course I'm going to give it to you, Mike.
Oh, yay, me.
Yeah, you're welcome. Why did we decide to rely on tuning orbs for mutated expeditions as well?
So we needed a method of control.
I like you orbs. I like these orbs a lot. Makes me lots of money.
Of access, basically, because we want to make the rewards very valuable to players.
No. So I understood that. I understood that, right? Because we're currently 590, and they go, oh well, to get the hey Izzy, to get the 625, right? This is what my interpretation was you get to the 600, right? You increase all your expertise to 600, and then while you're using the gypsum and going through the umbral, you get, correction. Even if you're not at 600, I think you still get the umbral shards, right? Because you can increase shit anyways, as long as you're doing mutators. But the gypsum itself, right? If you're using the cast and it's already at 600, then you will get the umbral shards. So anyways, I figured you would be at 600 expertise cap, and then you would turn around and use those umbral shards to increase the gear score of one of your items. I didn't know that it was increasing the fucking expertise. Why would it increase the expertise? They're literally making it... Okay, so what you're going to see in about, within 2 months is crafters are going to die out. Like, flat out die out. You're going to be, yes, you can use crafting to hard roll shit, but why are you going to bother crafting when you can get gear that already drops at 625 that you don't need to use umbral shards on? Where does this make sense? Because right now, the best you can get for crafting is 595 to 600? This is stupid.
Make sure
this is beyond stupid.
Your time investment is equal to the
nerfed
reward
the fuck out of
that you're
crafting.
going after. So that was the initial impetus for that system.
This is such a huge
so
nerf
in January,
to crafting.
We're going to allow players to also purchase them in the faction shop and craft them. And so that's one of the bigger differences. And we're going to monitor through the PTR and play sessions, what is that rate? Does it need to increase or decrease based upon play patterns and basically feedback from the community and what we're seeing in the actual data. So we're going to look forward to seeing how all that stuff plays out. And so by the time this is released, we might have already gotten data.
For a company that has a game director, that worked on Chess 3D, they're surely not looking at all the fucking pieces. What the fuck, dude?
In the past now for the viewers.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to add to that. I think, in the past, I think we were probably a little too strict on our gating.
I
right?
want to hear them say that they're just going to bump crafting
with adding access to the faction shop.
Right.
It's they already nerfed the shit out of it, and now it's just going to be even more pointless.
Oh yeah.
And something else to note is
Don't
that
even
we're
bother
going
with trade skills at this
to make
point.
the vanilla expeditions, those keys available in the faction shop as well. So that's going to be a big difference. And
Okay, so they are covering the new update. So I did hear about this too. You can buy your so Genesis and Lazarus are on 1 week cooldowns, and then everything else is on a daily cooldown. So if you want to go run depths, you can go to your faction dude and buy your fucking orb. I think that was a good touch. You know what I mean? It's something to kind of dump your faction points into besides converters. So I think that's good, but I think 1 week cooldown is a little too rough on the fucking Genesis and Lazarus. But I'm still upset about this Umbral shit.
The vanilla version
fucking
of
up
the
crafting,
expedition,
man.
You'll receive the codex for going into the mutated versions of those expeditions, and those keys are universal, so you can use any mutated orb in any mutated expedition.
Okay.
Which is
all
a
right.
good
So
touch.
I know when we look at the PTR and stuff,
you can save up your orbs for doing something you specifically want.
But looking at data and how players are interacting directly in game is really important to us as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not just one vector that we gain, our knowledge of like how the game's being ingested and like how players are going about like defeating things. So we're going to try to look at like what were their gear score values for when they cleared certain difficulties,
right?
Like which mutations are obscenely hard and for what given reason. So there's so much scale that we can do internally, and then
So, did you just hear that? They're talking about balancing mutations. You can't even balance your fucking weapons. Why are you worried about these fucking mutations?
Yeah.
Bro, we've had Void Gauntlet being the most toxic fucking meta since like release, right? Actually, not since release. It became super popularized after the nerf of Great Axe. To where we're in such an oppressive meta. I'm a tank. I built tank. I'm spec tank. I'm built tank. But they just fucking melt the shit out of me. Their auto attacks are going through my fucking block. The one thing a tank has, they just go through it. They don't give a fuck. And now they're talking about balancing mutations. Dude, fuck the mutations. Work on the foundation of your game. This goes back to what I was saying over and over again. I've been saying this on the forum. The house is on fire, and you're still worrying about remodeling the fucking kitchen. Fuck the kitchen, dude. Your house is on fire. The foundations of your game is fucked. One of the things that I did like is they did fix the desync on a lot of abilities, but your netcode is still shit.
And then we get a lot more data once we have a lot more people playing. And so we're starting to see pretty awesome patterns in Lazarus.
I think this mutations was a terrible direction.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
Absolutely.
It was just unneeded right now.
Now we are joined by Katie Kaczynski.
Okay, they're talking about PTR. I'm going to recap on that. I think mutations in a new world that's functioning. I'm not talking about perfect weapon balancing. I mean a functional fucking game. Mutations would be great. It's something to add. I think it's too early. And I think they got too many fucking issues to be adding more shit to the game, right? They just don't know how to balance a bunch of different numbers. They don't know how to look at a bunch of different things. So they're adding more and more elements to the fucking scheme. And now we're running into this issue where, listen, you already lost over 90% of your player base. I understand that some people are complaining about not having content, but you need to fucking focus on the goddamn game because you're going to lose your PvPers. You're going to lose PvEers after the PvPers leave because the PvPers fuel the fucking economy. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Why the fuck you're not focusing on player retention over anything else? Right? Bots, bugs, and fucking netcode, man.
The senior producer. So I know we talked a little bit about it in this last segment, talking about the PTR, but what have we learned so far in the January release? Things that we found off the PTR?
So one of the big things that we kind of touched upon in our last segment was just the frequency of mutator orbs and how you get them, and that's something that's like high on our list to just keep aware of and monitor like usage and playthroughs and completion.
Yeah, because they did say they wanted people to be able to do 2 mutations a day.
This was some feedback that came in that we're examining is like how can we get lower level expeditions mutated? So it's a really good question. The things that we're dealing with are like, hey, does it have like the same?
Guess what, guys?
Of time of experience. Also, does it have the same number of bosses?
Mutated our mind. Let's go.
So it's things that we need
to
God. Equate to like see if there's value there. So that's another thing that we're exploring. One of the other big things that we found, and including in our own playthroughs and PTR, is some of the named enemies coupled with some of the mutations are really hard.
Dude, one of the things that I don't understand is why you're so focused on rehashing old content. Right? They're sitting there, they're like, look, the shit-eating grin. He's like, man, this is so crazy. You guys have no idea. It's like, bro, we want to play the game.
Yeah.
We haven't been able to play the game. Like, we can't even do fucking OPR. We can't do wars. We can't do this. We can't do that. Like, it's just shit is just so fucking laggy. Fix the lag. Fix how fucking how oppressive your fucking meta is. Fix weapon swapping. God damn, fix weapon swapping.
Yes.
Why is weapon swapping still a fucking issue? You know what I mean? And I was on the forums last night and I was talking to someone and they brought up how, they fixed the sausage or the sausage problem like within minutes. I'm like, no, they didn't. That shit was, you could do that since the beginning, right? And once it was really discovered and being abused like maliciously, it was over a month, right? It lasted a long ass time. And here's another thing. Anyone that's ever managed a website ever, they know about SQL injections. Go ahead and try to do some crazy shit in the search bar on YouTube. It's never going to fucking happen, right? And amateur polls that only happens with amateur shit, right? We've known about this kind of shit since the 90s. It's not acceptable in any way, shape, or form. And it took them too long to fix, right? It's fucking crazy, man.
Right.
Very difficult. So that's something that we're modifying and we'll continue to balance as we get feedback and see data.
Yeah. Are you going to want to try to keep some of them on the higher level just to like get the people who really want to go after the super tough stuff?
It depends if it's a good strategy. Like meaning like, oh, there's a mechanic around this and it's something that players can overcome or use tactics to like defeat. But if it's just straight up broken, then yeah, that's a problem.
Right.
So there's a fine line between fun and please kill me. Like,
exactly.
One thing I wanted to add, I think another piece of feedback we got on the Umbral system during PTR is that requiring items to be gear score 600 to use Umbral to upgrade them was a bit onerous. Like people said, hey, these are really hard to get. Sometimes you get bad luck and you've been chasing for one for a long time. And if you don't have them, it feels like you're locked out of the system. And I think, we do want to make legendaries very valuable, but we hear that feedback and totally understand it. So one of the things we're looking into now is reducing that minimum requirement from 600 to 590. And I think that'll be great. It'll allow people to take the really good, because sometimes you get 2 great perks and it's like, I didn't get that.
All I'm hearing right now is
A farm.
proper, yeah, and proper issues not getting solved.
595. This will allow you
Like,
to upgrade that to 600.
they're just fluffing right now, filling it with random bullshit that I don't really give a shit about.
Yeah, and so he said you can upgrade it from 590, which I think is a good thing. But there's a problem with that. So let's say you have 2 god tier fucking rolled perks on a weapon that you really enjoy.
600, and then from there,
I'm hoping that he mentions it. If he stops talking and it's not mentioned, then I'm just going to pause it and talk about it.
Exciting player.
Nice. So
okay, so they're not going to cover it. If you have a 590 weapon and you upgrade it to 600, apparently it doesn't turn into a fucking legendary with an additional perk. So it's just, it keeps the perks that it has. So the problem with that is even if you get 2 god roll fucking rolls, right? And then you try and roll it as a 600, you can't. So essentially where you're stuck at is either you can wait until you get a 600 item that drops with god tier perks, or just upgrade it anyways. And my opinion is, if you don't have a best in slot or anything like that, use your fucking umbrals and increase your expertise. Because if the expertise is really bumped up to 625, it means you're probably going to be a lot more likely finding things over 600, right? So you get more chances at rolls and shit. I think this is fucking stupid.
So speaking of things that we've are learning in the current PTR, is there anything that we learned from past PTRs that really helped, improve the PTR win right now and PTRs going forward?
Yeah, I think the biggest things we learned is you've got to make sure players can test what you're giving, right? So make sure the backstories, those are the things where you choose the character. It has all the right equipment, it has all the things you need. Make sure the crafting stations are at tier 5. Unlock all the fast travel points, give A's off. Make sure players can test. The other thing we learned is that the more we can provide patch notes about what all the changes are in the PTR, the more players can test that. And I know the patch notes weren't fully complete again this time.
They were not. So yeah, and that honestly, that was
for one thing that I heard is they were having trouble getting people onto the fucking PTR and playing the PTR. Because they literally made forum posts that go, "Hey, listen, how the fuck do we get you guys onto PTR?" Like, because apparently not many people wanted to play the fucking PTR.
That was a tough decision.
Of course, no one wants to play your game.
weren't done.
Yeah.
So
Why would they go on to
we had
PTR?
the holiday, we had just the way that we moved those fixes through our branches. We didn't have the notes in a good spot at the time that we needed to start the PTR so that we could get the right amount of testing on that build. So we were like, let's just put out these patch notes that are incomplete. We'll let folks know that they're not complete, and we'll continuously update them to get more of the information in. And by not complete, it meant that like there.
Yeah, you're better off pushing the PTR onto launch as quickly as possible. Even if something's not listed in the patch notes, just fucking throw it out there so people can start testing immediately. Because you want to have a large enough window of testing anyways. And then let people know, like, yo, we're going to update this as we go. This is not a complete list of what we got going on in PTR. I think this is 100% appropriate.
There were things in the PTR that we just hadn't had the time to put into the notes yet, because that is, again, like we talked about in the last dev stream.
But the whole patch itself is garbage.
There's a lot that goes into it. So so we posted it because we wanted folks to have that first, like, this is the stuff that we fixed, this is what we did, there's more coming. And it was a mix of thank you for this and just utter outrage because they thought that we had made like stealth changes, and we were like, no, we just were behind and we're getting them out. So they've been updated since, and they'll continue to be updated throughout the PTR. So the lesson learned there is that we need to get as many of the notes, even if they're not in like the best. This
goes back to what I was saying on the last dev stream. Get your fucking interns to collect little notes from all your fucking your software developers, condense it into a major thing, right? All your devs write down what kind of changes they've made, what kind of things that they finished, blah 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 blah, and then that gets passed over to the intern. The intern collects it all and copies and pastes everything together. And then you have a couple people shuffling through a couple different pages, rewording it so it's appropriate for the community. Like, instead of worrying about all this crazy shit, it sounds like they have shitty communication, which I'm not surprised.
We just need to get them out to the players when they start the PTR.
Yeah.
So so that was a miss this time. We did better than we did the last time. So we're incrementally getting better. But it definitely wasn't in the shape that we wanted it this last time.
But some people took it as a challenge to like scavenger hunt and find the specific things. So speaking of the PTR, can you talk about the PTR to come out for February and when we should expect PTR releases compared to monthly releases?
Yeah, so there is a PTR for February. So the interesting thing about February, in case folks are not aware, is that February is just a like bug fix month. There's no major content that's coming with the February release.
Which should have been this month.
Why? Yeah, which should have been this month. And considering you just increased the expertise to 625, I hope to God that you don't release something new. Like,
we get a good amount of fixes in, and we make a real difference for the players that have been asking for things for a long time that we've had the opportunity to work on. It's just that they haven't had the testing that they need for us to feel safe to put them out into the wild. So as far as when we start a PTR, we want to give ourselves enough time to react. So there's not a specific time frame that we're going to be pushing on a PTR. But we definitely want to give ourselves at least 2.5 weeks, generally longer, before we do a release.
A live launch.
We want that to be in PTR. We learned the first PTR when we gave ourselves like 7 days. That was, we were like, we'll just do scale testing. We'll check to make sure that like the servers can handle it, and then we're good. And what we found out was that we were not good. We were the opposite of good. Players felt like we lost their trust, and we felt like we lost their trust. So we've been gaining it back since then, and so we want to continue to do that.
You've been gaining it back. Hold up. You've been gaining it back? You've been gaining back player trust? Why you gotta fucking lie to me, man? Why you gotta lie to me? You haven't been gaining player trust. You've been losing players still. Like, bruh. Why you gotta fucking lie to me? We already dropped another fucking 11,000. The fuck you talking about?
PTRs far enough in advance that we can listen to them, take their advice. And
yeah, bring out the graph. Listen here, motherfucker. Listen here, man. I'm gonna bring up that graph every time they say some stupid shit. You know what I mean? Because this speaks volumes. This speaks so fucking much. Like, people have no idea what the fuck this means, right? Like, bam, you listen, everything past this point right here should be the settled amount, right? Like, I'm fine with like dropping 50%. I'm fine with dropping to a third. The moment you start hitting like less, you lost more than 90% and you're still fucking losing players, you're doing something wrong, right? Like, not even 1 out of 10 people like your fucking product. That's crazy. And if you're going to say, oh, players are starting to gain our trust, this number needs to be fucking positive, bro. Like, it needs to be positive. I want to see +1 at least.
Yeah. Now, I know that, like, the dev team likes to jump into the live game and interact with players there and, you know, read chat and see what, you know, finger on the pulse of the live service. Do you guys jump into PTR?
Oh, yes.
You're in there constantly?
Oh, yeah.
Don't fucking lie to us. You don't even play your game. Don't lie to us. There's no way you play this game. I doubt they have any more gameplay time than I do in a week. You know what I mean? No.
It was pretty visible the last time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we actually
probably jump on for like
our,
30 minutes and they're like, okay, guys, this
that
looks
was
nice.
done in the PTR last month. And then we also had scheduled some days where usually we have internal play tests.
So they did this, the raid on Merkguard. I call it a raid because these motherfuckers took over an hour. How long did they take? Hold up. How long did they take for that Merkguard? No, they took an hour. Okay, they took an hour. I'll give them the hour. It took them a fucking hour to clear Merkguard. How long does it take the community to draw? Like, I know when I ran a 10-man group, it took us like 20 minutes. Like 20, 30 minutes.
The next
I don't know where they're coming up with this fucking shit.
For the PTR, we want our players to tell us what's going on with that because we've already tested it internally with our smaller group. So we want them to kind of focus internally on
Wait. Is he running Jasper? Or Carnelian? Okay, Carnelian on the Sword and Shield is fine. But this motherfucker got Carnelian on his spear. And then this guy, Scott Lane, is running double Carnelian too. And David is running Diamond. Well, actually, Diamond is output healing, right? Okay, never mind. My bad.
Well, last time we were
like, some other screens. Can I see what their gens they're running?
Let's see what's going on. This is a big release. We have a lot coming up. We want to get this.
Why are you running Carnelian on spear?
Players
you fucking
noticed
weeb?
because we have some amazing folks on our team who have been level 60 for forever.
Right.
Like, they are like the tried and true, and then you have very casual people, and we just kind of walked into some situations that maybe we shouldn't have walked into because, you know, we're like, oh, I can solo this like at level 60 elite area. Why not? I was like, I'm level 60. I can go to Cutlass Keys and solo these level 40 elites. No,
Nice.
Cannot.
Does anyone think Cutlass Keys is hard? Like, just like honestly, Cutlass Keys is hard.
Is
Like,
Cutlass Keys meant to be hard?
Yeah, like I was able to solo like the Uskin or whatever, the fucking connection point between like Great Cleave and the Shatter Mountains. Like, I was soloing that kind of shit. Why the fuck is Cutlass Keys difficult for you? I guess okay.
Not
If
a
you're running
chance.
musket
So we
and
jump
bow,
in and we'll
okay,
join.
fair
It
enough.
might not be
Those aren't really good for
noticeable
solo.
because you have to have a
but
specific build that calls you out with like different UI in chat, but they join for sure. So we just won't tell you who we are.
Yeah.
It's a secret. Shh.
All right. Awesome. Thanks.
yeah, because you'd get flamed.
And now we have Katie and Scott back at the table, but now we're joined by Scott Geiser, the senior gameplay engineer. This first question is for you, Katie. Can you give us a little more insight when we're going to see the next round of server transfers being available? I know everyone's talking about it. Everyone wants to know.
Yeah, I want to know too. Just kidding. So
Because they took away everyone's goddamn fucking tokens. They took away people's tokens. So, like, whatever server you were on, they just yoinked that shit and you were stuck. Like, bruh, so
we
dumb.
did less than ideal merges in December. So
They
we
said
had
they
this
said it
grand
was only going to be a
plan
couple
merge all
weeks,
of the
and then
worlds
they were
that
going to release them
struggling
back out and give everyone a token
into,
again. And
a world
that never
that
fucking
would
happened.
be good, right? So that means that either it's multiple worlds struggling into one world, and because of their populations and the type of populations that they had, that one world would now be what we consider healthy, or it was a low population.
You know what happened? You know what actually happened? So on our server, right, we got merged with this, God, I forget the name of it, right? And they come over and like everyone was Covenant from that server. Well, I wouldn't say everyone. A good majority were Covenant, right? They were part of this company called Toast. They came over and they got slapped so hard that they quit. That's what the server mergers did. In my opinion, it was really dumb. What you should have done for server merges is you take two mediums, fuse them together, and then that way they hit a larger player count, right? Instead of taking all these low pop servers and fusing them into the higher population servers where the meta is already defined, fuse all the fucking lower pops with each other, man. Who thought, okay, listen, you're going to take all the people that were casually just playing around, they were able to farm their shit, you know, they might have had a war or two, but not that many. And then you just fucking threw them into the dog den. And you're like, oh shit, they left. I wonder why. Like, Toast got fucking annihilated. And they don't exist anymore. The proper way of doing server merges is not just the player count on certain times. You got to look at what state the server's in. Lower population servers should be fused together because they've been acclimated to the same meta because they're all progressing at the same rate. If you're putting them on higher population servers, they're just going to get wiped out and they're going to feel so fucking weak. They're not going to play anymore. They may have thousands of hours, but because it's not as competitive as the higher competitive servers, they're just going to get fucking stomped out. Is about people on my server always stable because people always care about it since release. I 100%, yeah, Milka's, that hits the nail on the head. Some servers do that where like the really giants, like the big giants of the fucking server, they'll take one sword and fucking Everfall or whatever. And then like they'll grab little zones here and there, but then they leave shit up for other people. You know what I mean? So it doesn't choke out a fucking faction. On our server right now, Marauders just took over the fucking globe. Last I checked, Syndicate had 3 zones, Covenant had none, and Covenant doesn't exist anymore. Right? And it's fucking brutal. And it's not going to change. Right? At this point, I think they need to shuffle fucking players. I'm not going to lie. Like, shuffle players and then, like, add fucking tokens here and there and shit like that, because right now it's so fucking bad on our server.
World into an already healthy server. So those were our 2 that we were working with most often. Unfortunately, or fortunately actually, right before we were going to do those, like literally the night before we were going to announce, we discovered this housing persistence issue, which would have been really awful if that had gone out into the live world. And if we had merged worlds, it would have been really bad, and we don't want to do that. So we had to fix this housing persistence issue, which is being fixed and being tested, and it's coming out soon. And then once that's done, we need to complete that first round of merges. We're calling it Merge 1.5. So we had round 1 in December. Round 1.5 will be right after we fix the housing
because
persistence
apparently
issue, which
our
we'll let
server's
folks know
getting
in the
like
forums,
2 to
like,
3
hey,
more
this
little
is done.
servers and stuff
This
like
is
that, but
completed. I
you're
know
just
there's
gonna
a lot
end
of
up
threads
checking
on
out
it, but there's like an
Firebase.
official post from community.
Right.
So on that post, we'll let folks know that it's been done and that we're going to move forward with round 1.5 of those merges. Once those are done,
Dictator company, but in balance or not, still people in the community have control. Yeah, so high pop servers. I think what it is if you want to see it balanced and actually fixed, like forcefully fixed, is you put in voucher system, right? I had this voucher system that I fucking drafted up, and I posted it on the fucking forums, but I just let it die out because it wasn't getting any traction. And now people are going around and fucking saying it right now. Like, they're all like, oh, we should do this. It's like, bro, I fucking said it. Like, I said this shit a long ass time ago. Hold up. Simple solution to obvious problem. Is that the one? Yep. I'll put it in the description. So pretty much the way, I'll summarize it real quick. The voucher system, essentially everyone gets a voucher, and you can place your voucher once a week, correction. You can place the voucher wherever. If you get called into war, you can only fight at that station for 1 week, right? And you can't fight anywhere else. And I think the only exclusion would be invasions, right? Invasions don't require a voucher. Like, you can go fight wherever for invasions. This locks people into the highest priority for their A team. Now their B team is fighting on other locations, right? So if you want to hold the secondary territory, your B team has to take it. And regardless of anything, the vouchers kind of limit and force you to play different, you know? Because if you can't have the same 50 people taking over every single fucking zone because you're using shell companies setting up siege times to be at different times so you can have the same 50 fighting here. You know what I mean? Vouchers eliminate that problem altogether, right? And then the next thing to address is the settlement income. Like I already stated like before on the forums again, that one of the things that they can do in order to contribute to a healthier economy is settlements are not based on fucking taxes, and it's not based on housing. You don't get paid out based on the number of people in your fucking place. Instead, you have the basic settlement is 50K. If you hit a taxing threshold, you get a bonus for this much, right? And if you hit there will be 3 tiers. Anything excessive of the 3rd tier, it just goes into oblivion, right? You don't get that fucking money anymore. And what happens is it forces people to think, okay, well, all zones are now worth value. Meanwhile, if you're limited to how many fucking zones you control because you can't have the same 50 people defending every single zone, now things start getting forcefully balanced out. I'm fine with the company claiming 2 settlements if they have 100 people. If they have 100 people, sure. Right? Server caps is 2K. But my problem is the same 50 people fighting every fucking war. Right? At the end of the day, if you have to fight against the same fucking people every single time, then it's fucked. But if you have 2 really good fucking war teams, that's fine, dude. You know, like, that's the elitist group. They can have 2 fucking zones. There's plenty of more zones. And if they did implement an income thing like I was just talking about, there would be, like, even First Light and fucking Cutlass Keys and Weaver's Fen would be worth value. You know? So at the end of the day, like, there's value in other... Yeah, company cap is key. 100%. Right? But even then, like Milka's, even the top elite groups don't have more than 2 war teams anyways, right? Even when they're a Zerg with like fucking 200 people in their fucking company, if they have 200 people, like they still use the same 50 people to fight every war. That's the key element there, right? The vouchers really dictate how much they can actually control. You can't just repurpose the fucking same 50 people over and over again to get a huge competitive advantage, right? That's fucked. Using 50 people to completely dominate one zone, perfectly fine. Perfectly fucking fine. But now your B team has to fight someone else's A team. And if your B team can fight someone else's A team and claim a second territory, well, now your C team has to fight another person's fucking A team. You know what I mean? That's my point. If you implement a voucher system like literally the one I linked in the description, it forces companies to act different. You can't just use the same 50 people, and you can't use shell companies to abuse the fact that there's no voucher system.
Then we can open up character transfers again. So,
by the way, Milka's, it took me like 30 seconds to come up with that voucher shit, right? You see it everywhere. It's nothing new. Babe, your audio is really fucked right now.
What?
Your mic is overly sensitive. Super overly sensitive. Like, they do it in all these kind of games. Like, you see it in fucking Evertale and all sorts of games where, like, there's territories and shit like that, where you can only deploy once or twice, blah, 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 at a certain location in order to try and claim it. And it's like, bro, when you have that kind of system, it forces gameplay to be different. And it makes those that are super elite, like heavy hitters, yeah, they can absolutely dominate the field. But they're not dominating every single fucking field, right? Because people are going to quit. If you have to fight the same 50 elite team over and over again, it's fucked, dude. I get that, but what they're going to do, if you say one company, one territory, they make shell companies anyways. Right? They just make shell companies and then they have their fucking same 50 people fighting for the next company. That's how I see it. I think vouchers is just the easiest solution. Because honestly, if I had like 200 people and you tell me my company can only hold one territory, well, I can use the same 50 people to fight for the other companies that I have set up. Right? And you see that right now. That's the same exact problem we have right now. Like, even though like one company owns like this, you'll see that well, I get that, but you don't want to have to fight against the same 50 people over and over again, right? They'll still maintain the insane control. It's just with a different name, right?
The merges are...
if I owned a company with 200 people, I could literally tell Ystera, like, hey, go make this company, and then I'm going to have my 50 elites fight in that war, and we're going to take it anyways. Right, it's still the same problem.
Done by us. We merge worlds together.
Yeah.
We call the final world a destination world, and the other worlds are our source worlds. Mm-hmm. Character transfers are initiated by the player. So those are not full worlds moving over, and they go by a separate but somewhat similar set of rules. And those have also been put on hold because of the housing persistence issue, because you bring your house with you, right? So until that was fixed, we couldn't do the rest of this. And we were planning to open the this is like there's so much here. This is so much planning.
It's a domino effect, yeah.
It's like...
I will give them credit where credit's due. The fact that their servers did not immediately blow up from doing server merges, I'm actually surprised.
Like, what we had wanted in a perfect world was that all these merges would have been done mid in December, and then right after that we can open up the character transfer, so that after you've soaked in the world and seen whether or not this is the right world after merge for you and your company, if you decide to go somewhere else, then you have this token and you can go where you would like to go, like whichever world you're going to have the most fun.
They pull a whole company over, right? They're like, okay guys, here's a higher population server, have fun. The whole company goes, nah, fuck that, and goes back to a low pop.
Because of the persistence issue, all those plans got
immediately.
moved So once we're done with 1.5, the round 1.5 merges, then we will open
slapped
up
so
the
fucking
second
hard,
round
dude.
of
It was
character
bad.
transfer tokens for the player initiated
Okay,
ones.
so it's going to be a second token and not just the first token people may have been sitting on.
And I think the high level takeaway is this is hugely important to us. Both transfers and merges are a huge priority, but we're not going to break things trying to get them rushed in. So they're going to happen soon, and that's about as exact as we can get right now. But we're actively working on them.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I know the community is like, knocking down our door for that answer. So hopefully we'll get that out. Another thing
people have been begging for fucking server transfers.
The status of some of the major bugs. Scott, do you have that in your back pocket?
Yeah. So all the different gameplay teams have their own priority list of bugs, and we try and take care of the biggest ones first. For this next update, we've closed hundreds of bugs. Some of the big notable highlight ones. I know I saw a lot of videos of people drowning on land on YouTube, so that should be fixed. There was an issue blocking if you.
Me and Istera were at like one of the elite zones. I think it was the Skull Fort. And we're just like walking on a bridge, and then we randomly start drowning out of nowhere. I was like, what the fuck?
Back to your original faction, you couldn't progress to get to the top rank anymore. So that will be fixed. And then I know another hot button issue is the Void Gauntlet sliding and the animation canceling on the bow to fire way faster than you're really supposed to. So those will be in the upcoming fixes as well.
Scott didn't
I think
mention
they actually
the weapon
rushed
swap
those
issue
fixes.
that
We
there's
got
been
a
lot of concerns
little
about.
micro patch.
Primarily because that's not really a bug. We're going to go deep on that in a little bit with Dave Hall, as well as the weapon desync issue. We're going to have an update on that. There are a few more fixes, though, that we can talk about. We have the outpost rush.
That's something we've known for a long time, Milkas, because if you look at wars, dude, wars are so fucking laggy. And what's worse is like people are abusing another exploit that like literally was happening day one. If you were playing day one and you like remember the beginning wars, people were spamming AoE to lag everything out, and that's how they would defend. Was literally just lagging out the server until people were like crashed or frozen so they can like fight. It was so stupid. Right? And we're seeing that again. And it comes down to their netcode. Their netcode is absolutely atrocious. I don't know where they think they could get away with that.
There's a bunch of fixes in Outpost Rush, but the one that people have been complaining about is the Brute's meatball attack is happening a little too often. So we're reducing that. And then
we'll be
just fucking remove Brutes from OPR.
more expensive to get the Brute.
It'll be it'll be more expensive to get them. And then
we have I don't want it to be more expensive. I want you to just remove it.
Before we had the housing tax, the players felt it was too high.
Yeah.
We've given a huge reduction in cost in that through the holiday time. Now we're going to come back and put the cost where we think it is, and it's not going to be as high as it was, and it's not going to be as low as it's been discounted to. We think it's going to be a happy median that works for everybody.
Okay. I know we talked about it a lot in the last previous dev update video. Really like dug deep into exploits, duplication bugs, bans. What has happened between that video and today?
Yeah, so there's been a lot going on in that regard. It's one of the team's biggest priorities. Obviously, like the health of the game economies is kind of like central to our game, so we need to do whatever we can to protect that. It's a lot of.
How can you say that the economy is important to you, yet there's so many bots?
Yeah.
You can't fucking say that. Like, if you guys implemented an in-game moderator, sure, but no.
Different teams are contributing there, like the customer service team. They're changing some of their workflows to make it quicker for them to respond to reports from players about bots and things.
Dude, your customer service team sucks.
As well as like gold seller spam. So, player reports are a huge part of how we're able to combat these things. And so, that it's super helpful, and reducing the amount of time from when the report's sent to when customer service rep is like looking at it and investigating it makes a huge difference. Also, like I said in the last update, like we don't just use the reports, we also have to correlate that with telemetry because we don't want reports to be weaponized against players and things like that.
Exactly.
So we've done a lot of work in getting that telemetry data more easily accessible to customer service, so that when they do get a report, they can say like, oh, and this player has already like triggered these alarms or whatever, and so we can action them quicker as well. And then finally, we're always investigating bots and different bot programs, and we work with our partners at Easy Anti-Cheat so that they can identify signatures for some of these things, and EAC can.
Bruh, no. Identifying, bruh, I have a whole goddamn video on that shit. Where is it? No, that's not it. Where is it? Oh, here we go. Identifying issues? Like, I've already done that shit. Like, bots interact with things that don't exist twice just to see if it has access to the fucking node. They all run in a double route system, which means they have a main route that splinters off into other routes, or tree routing system, whatever you want to call it. How about the 625 in mutation? I think it's fucking stupid, dude. So because I just found out that you use Umbrals to increase your expertise, right? It's not just the item, it's your expertise. So now expertise goes up to 625. I thought it just went up to 600. It's fucking stupid. It's way too early for that shit. It's way too early, right? The issues that they're talking about now, bugs, bots, and shit, like, it should have been addressed this month. And if they pushed this off into, if they pushed off 625 in mutations to next month, that would have been fine, dude. But what they literally did was rehash old content, and they were so smug about it too. That's the part that really pisses me off. They were so smug about how they were figuring out ways to rehash like Armine and Shattered and all that stupid shit. It just blows my mind that they thought that people would have been okay with it. You know, bruh, because here's the thing, you can do gypsum casts. You can do casts to get your Umbral shards, or you can do mutations, right? And one of the things that they didn't talk in this stream that was changed recently is orbs no longer have cooldown. So if you have any like fucking excess ores in your fucking, or not ores, if you have any excess of the gypsum shit in your fucking inventory, you can convert all that into gypsum orb immediately, and then you can use those on casts. So like if you have like a whole bunch of crimson gypsum, you can convert that straight into orbs. If you have a whole bunch of amethyst, whatever, so your stockpile, you can actually start going through it. But I think the 625 shit is way too fucking early. And the fact that everyone has to do it now, like PvPers either have to do mutations or they have to do gypsum farms. Either way, PvPers have to do PvE content. And I don't mind if there's a little bit, but you have to do a lot of fucking PvE content to get 625 on everything, because GS is now a huge factor on damage mitigation. It's fucking stupid.
Handle identifying and banning machines that are using these bot programs as well. And so I think since the last time we talked, I think maybe about 9,000 or so.
600 is perfectly fine. I 100% agree.
And then I think maybe about 600 more just that.
So here's the thing. People were complaining about lack of content. So they were like, okay, what can we do to rehash old content in order to have content? So we don't have to put in this insane amount of work to get more content in. And in all honesty, like, you can revamp old content and make it new and interesting, but your game has to work, right? It's back to the house on fire. House is on fire, but they're still remodeling the kitchen. They didn't need to worry about the gear score right now. Anyone that's complaining about content is just doing strictly PvE, and there's nothing else to the game for them, right? To me, I think only like not even 1% of the player base is at that stage yet. I highly doubt everyone's best in slot. Yeah, but the hard mode doesn't add anything new to it. It's just things hit harder, right? They're talking about curses and stuff like that, which I think could be interesting, but it's just too early for the gear score shit. I think it's just way too early.
It's just like the game has barely been out for 6 months, and they're already adding all of this like stuff that you should add after a year. Because people don't have content to do, so that's when you boost the gear score and stuff.
If the game was functioning, sure, but the game isn't functioning. That's the problem that I have. It's not just the timing. It's just your game is a hot mess, and you're adding more to balance on your hot mess. It makes no sense, right? Because imagine how slow all the fixes are going to be after they add mutations. If they have any issues with mutations, now that's another priority that they have to add on to the list. What I've been saying since the beginning is cut the fat off and focus on the main core of the game, fix that, and then start building on it, right? If your foundation is shit, your house is going to collapse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's not new content. Everyone's seen this content already. It's like, hey, it's like with WoW, if they go, oh, you know, for our dungeons, we added like what is it, heroic mode or some shit. It's like, dude,
I was actually
shit.
I was actually about to drag WoW into it as well, because like in WoW they released the normal mode raid, and then I think it takes like a couple of weeks or even a month or something.
You're super loud.
Oh,
hold on.
Sorry.
No, you're okay. Go ahead. You can talk.
I think it's like a month or maybe more before they actually add the heroic mode. And then it takes even further for them to add the mythic mode. It's first when people are like actually geared up from these raids that they're like, oh, okay, now we'll add another difficulty.
Yeah,
but,
and the problem is right now is the game isn't stable enough, right? They're adding more and more projects on top of the project that's not working. Right? At the end of the day, the game needs to fucking work before they add more shit.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Imagine if people, for some reason, mutations go live and people use the orbs and then people get summoned in and they're immediately kicked out and then they lose the orb. Now they really have to touch up on that. So everything that they've been working on immediately goes on hold because people are getting screwed out of their fucking orbs for mutations. Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of zones that haven't been touched much. Who here has been to north of Eden and actually done anything there besides the quests?
Where the fuck is Eden?
You know what I mean? Like in actuality, what if they actually add some cinematics and added like some actually interesting quests?
How about
you know
adding
what I mean?
lore?
Or how about
story?
How about instead of mutations, we add heroic quests?
Da, 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 da.
You know what I mean? If you really want to get the PvEers hard on, that's the way you do it. You don't do it by adding mutations. Either way, I think this adding additional content right now is just stupidest fucking thing because they're going to run into more issues. They've ran into so many issues from the fucking start and they go, okay, that didn't work, so we'll just get rid of that, throw more in. Right? They already fucked up the suit. Like, you need to focus on the basics and then progress. Like a world raid. Yeah, exactly. Shit like that.
Imagine adding like different world bosses all around, like they did with the Turkey event. That was actually fun.
Yeah, I think the Turkey event was actually more interesting than the winter shit.
Yeah, the Yetis.
Like, no cap. Yeah. Because right now we have like those elite zones, right? But people just farm those elites and then go clear fucking get the chests and whatever, and they just bypass everything. Imagine that there's like you said, a world boss, right? We had that shit on WoW. You go and fight this dude with like fucking over 20 fucking people. And like the more people you have, the more like mechanics of the boss unlocks. So it scales up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
more
it's just
health
like,
and more damage and all that kind of shit.
imagine if it gives a fucking debuff to a couple people and it causes an AoE on the fucking ground. So you can't just zerg the motherfucker down. Like there's so many things you can do, right? So many fucking things you can do. But their focus is on rehashing old content that's not fucking interesting whatsoever. And I feel like if they did add a world boss, like it would just be a giant brute. Like
we're running programs maybe we haven't identified, but that we've banned as well.
The player base don't even trust them.
Yeah. Has the PTR been helpful in finding?
Yeah, they already exist.
Feedback from
they already exist, and you can add like a cave tunnel at the back of Merkgard that goes into like a big ass fucking cave, similar to like name any game with gigantic fucking cave in back, where there's a fucking giant ass elite, right? Imagine if there's a tendril that's sticking out of the fucking ground, and there's corruption on the walls, on the ground, there's fucking everywhere, and then there's like fucking tendrils coming out of the fucking walls and all sorts of shit, and you need like range to take out the fucking ones on the walls, otherwise they're swiping at everyone. There's so much shit you can do, dude. But they're not doing that, man. They're focused on this random shit. They're not focusing on the game. They're not like there's no interest to them of adding new content that's actually new and interesting that engages the player. They're not focused on fixing the fucking game. They're not focused on the botting issue. They're not focused on anything that the community is talking about. The only thing that they're going by this agenda that they've placed out, this roadmap that they created, and they're following it to a T, and they're like, yeah, that sounds good. For example, Void Gauntlet has been oppressing the fucking OPR and wars so fucking much. Hasn't been touched. We're talking about a support weapon that deals more damage than any fucking melee weapon. How does that make sense? It's fucking crazy, dude.
From the community and reports from the PTR.
Not
Yeah.
for bot.
Many places are beautiful because their art and design team is fucking phenomenal. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense, dude.
Specifically, but for exploits for sure.
Great.
Yeah, for sure. I've gotten quite a few messages on the forums, direct messages. Please do not.
Yeah, every weapon's paired with VG. It's fucking crazy.
Please.
Fire Staff
so I've gotten
VG,
a lot
Ice
of
Gauntlet
messages,
VG,
and so
Sword and
have some of
Shield
the other
VG,
developers and community
Great Axe
managers,
VG.
informing us of things that people are able to exploit on the PTR. So we've been able to address that before it's gone live and become a bigger problem for folks. So that has been great.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think if they really want to fix VG, scrap the int, make it scale just on focus alone, and lower down the damage. So it's healer incentive, right? So healers do have something they can switch into. Meanwhile, not every single fucking spellcaster or like, dude, you even run VG on musket. How does that make sense?
What?
Yeah, so the thing with, okay, there's a musket VG combo where you scream into trap and you deal fucking insane damage. Right? Because scream increases damage that you deal to them. Right? It rends. And then you have trap, which increases damage that you deal to them. So as a melee, like you can, with sword and shield, you can block it, but you can't block it with other weapons. It's just fucking stupid. The weapon is stupid. Like there's, it was great on paper, but they fucked that one bad, dude.
Looking forward a little bit, what are some of the bug fixes we're going to look for in February? Are there like specific ones people should be aware of? Ones that may have taken a little bit longer that we're now finally getting into to February?
Yeah, for sure. So there's a lot of bug fixes. There's not really one that's outstanding because this isn't a major feature update. We're not making those like big content changes.
Yeah.
But we do have some bug fixing.
Bow musket is pretty dope.
So the two
but
that
in the
are
meta
near
that
and dear
we're
to
in right
me,
now, bow musket
that
just
I know
gets
that the team is
fucking
working on
slapped.
They're doing a full pass on.
If you're
missing
doing well with bow and
ingredients
musket,
and
you're really
recipes,
good with bow and musket.
Mats and
Like,
searchability
this
and
meta
a
is
trading post for those
so
items.
fucking
They're doing
punishing
full
for no
pass on
reason.
that. And then also perks and abilities. So bug fixing on those, which I know is going to be really fun and exciting for the players to finally like.
What? Gravity Well actually pulls things to center like it's described to do? Crazy.
Not have to get to me on the forums and tell me about how wrong these things are. I know that like we are listening for sure. It just is, these things are really big, and sometimes they touch a lot of different files, and it's dangerous for us to put into the smaller updates. So we've been working on those. Those are two that are near and dear to me.
What she just said is we have spaghetti code, so we don't know how to implement these changes effectively, because if we do, it's going to break everything. Yeah, that's what happens when your fucking coding architecture is absolutely ass. Like, seriously. It's not that complicated. It's because they copy and pasted so much fucking code around instead of calling it into different sections like how they should have, that it becomes a huge fucking issue. When you identify certain sections of code by a fucking name and then you pull that into other locations, all you have to do is change it in that one. So it's called object orientation. So when you have a section of code, it's considered an object, right? So if you modify that one section, it modifies all the others. But they copy and paste shit around so fucking much that if when they go to make changes, you'll notice it fucks up a lot of shit, right? Because things are not functioning the way they should. She
Just
looks
look
fucking
at,
stoned on this freeze frame.
Just look at my beacon and Oblivion. How they
eats it.
cancel each other out. Yep.
Yeah. It eats it. It's a copy paste, and instead of changing identifiers and shit like that, Oblivion just eats beacon, regardless if you're an ally or enemy. So if you want to remove a beacon, just throw down Oblivion. How does that make sense?
More verticals that we're looking into.
It doesn't.
Yeah, another one that's important to me
A
is
quick service message,
throughout
which doesn't
development,
really
when
have
you add
much
stuff
to
to the
do
game, you
with the
sometimes
developer thing. But if you go to the store, all of the winter stuff they gave away for free is actually in the store right now. So if you missed an item, you can go in and claim it right now for the next 3 days, just for anyone that haven't seen it.
Okay.
Just letting you know.
And this is manifested in ways that frustrate me through missions and quests not being completable. So we have a goal to fix every one of those. So we're going to go through, hey, the quest marker is taking you to the wrong spot, or the drop isn't happening, or in some cases we've broken something like in the housing quest line, or the faction quest line, the faction changing quest line I meant. To have all of those, to make sure that those are all bulletproof as well. Like this period of February, it's exciting because there are often different people making features than fixing bugs, but to get that pure focus on bugs at this point is really exciting.
Nice.
And we know that people want it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be really great. All right, thanks for coming, guys.
Thanks.
It's really easy to copy and paste code.
Yeah.
Combat, weapons, and
All right,
balancing.
and now we're joined by Dave Verifei again.
Hopefully they say they delete Void Gauntlet because they realize they do not have the expertise in order to handle that level of numbers.
We have another Dave at the table.
Anything else, and I'm
Dave
going to
Hall,
be
the
upset
player
with them.
experience lead. So this question is going to be for you first. The Great Axe, the Rapier, the Fire Staff, the Ice Gauntlet, these weapons probably have the most discussion threads in the forums, with players thinking that they're too weak, other players thinking they're too strong. How does the team feel about that?
That's a great question. Yeah,
I think
we have
Fire
a
Staff,
lot of feedback on these weapons, and we're constantly.
I would say Fire Staff is actually the most balanced, to be honest. Okay, now don't flame me. What I mean by this is with Fire Staff, that's the level of skill and damage that we should be seeing from other weapons as well, right? Fire Staff doesn't feel oppressive, but in the right hands, it's really fucking strong. That's what we should be seeing with other weapons as well. It's not. It's so fucking janky.
And I think we feel like we're getting to a place that's very close.
What? No, you're not. What the fuck? Did he say really close? What? What? Richard, how can you do this to me? How can you do this to me? This meta sucks dick. What? Does he really feel that it's close? Bro, I'm so glad I'm ditching this fucking burning house,
We are
bro.
going to be making some changes.
This shit's
to
fucked.
these weapons.
This
but
shit's
they're gonna
so
be minor.
fucked.
So there's no major issues coming up with us. We don't feel like there's any major changes coming down the pipe.
Okay, Rapier has too many iframes, right? But I mean, it is what it is. I think if they adjust the level of iframe on the evasive step, it'd probably be fine. And maybe touch up on the way that riposte functions, right? I think riposte should only hit one fucking target. Maybe two or three. But the fact that riposte gives them invulnerability from behind is not okay. I don't think riposte should have an invulnerability at all. That blows my fucking mind. Spear's broken right now. You can literally no cooldown spear by having bleeds. It's fucking stupid, right? Bleeds are ticking fucking cooldowns and you literally spam abilities. So when we talk about level of skill that's required, if you're able to spam your fucking abilities like no other, you require less skill on having to hit those abilities. Like, I hope people realize this. Like, someone that's done competitive gaming before, the more you can spam, the less you are punished for fucking missing. Right? So, in this meta that we're currently in, spears are really strong in 1v1s. Incredibly strong. It's really hard to beat. Void Gauntlet is absolutely fucking busted. Bows, I feel like they're okay. They might even need a little tune-up. I'm not sure. I don't play enough bow, but with how overwhelming the meta is right now, I think after adjusting these other weapons, then see where bow is landing, see where musket's landing. Fire staff, I feel like is really strong right now. Like it's in a good spot, but I'm not going to say that it's obviously the fucking over oppressing Void Gauntlet is going to beat Fire staff out, right? That's the problem that we're seeing right now. But I think Fire staff is in a great spot, and I think other weapons need to move in the direction to where Fire staff is at. I don't play Fire staff. Like, I play Sword and Shield, right? I'm a Sword and Shield user. You know, so to me, right, when I'm saying another weapon is looking like it's in a good spot, it's because when I'm seeing it and how it's performing, I think it's really fucking nice. My boy Bert fucks people up all goddamn day with a Fire staff. But then you also look at other people using Fire staff and they can't fucking even hit like 500k on fucking Outpost Rush. They're sitting there struggling getting 200k. You know what I mean? And I don't think it's just gear. It's just fucking hitting your abilities, right? At the end of the day, it's hitting your abilities. And Fire staff has the cooldowns at a right place where it's very rewarding when it hits, but it's punishing if you're missing. So balance, we're not even fucking close, dude. Like, that is so fucking offensive. I can't believe that. Rich, how can you do that to me, bro? That got me fucked up.
Fight for these. So we want to make sure we're going to be doing slight balances to them and moving from there.
Is that something people will be able to
He's
experience?
stoned, bro. He's fucking ripped right now.
Maybe up in the future months. It's not going to be on the current PTR. It'll be probably on the next PTR.
Yeah, I mean, I think
like,
every PTR we try to introduce.
I'm thinking about it, and so I'm blinking too much. Holy shit!
We're getting
I'm
close.
blinking so goddamn much.
Especially in a
Just
game
look at the
like
table.
ours where there's
Look at the
so many
wall.
different types of
Okay,
play, right? Like
yeah, I'm
there's
paying
solo
attention.
PvE, group
He's
PvE,
fucking ripped,
there's,
dude. The
you know,
guy's like
small
blasted
combat,
right
and
now.
there's war. Like there's so
You're
many
just
different
so
modes, it's hard
fucking
to get the
blasted
balance
right
perfect,
now.
right? So, but I think we're at the stage where we're going to be making smaller
got a
changes,
medical
letting them
condition.
percolate, right? Like sometimes the small changes have way broader
Dude's
impacts
fucking blasted.
than you think about in terms of the meta. So there are some changes coming, but they're going to be smaller in
I
nature.
would be
and we're
too
gonna
if
be
I had to
keeping
work
our
for
eye on them.
AGS. I'm not gonna lie.
Things that have small,
I mean,
impacts. Do you have an
he has
update
to
on
sit
the
through
desync
that
issue?
entire
I do,
developer
yes.
stream
So we
video,
have a
whatever
strike
you want to
team
call it.
now, formed around the desync issues,
And it's
they're-
probably not
we
proud
already
of
just put out
like
something in our
90%
weekly,
of the
which I
stuff
think
he
came
has to say,
well, by the time the
and
video
knows
comes out,
how
we'll
much
be-
hatred
we'll be live.
he's
in the
gonna
past, right?
receive. I would
Hear
be
the fucking
stoned.
stream at all,
But I think we're
woman.
at the stage where we're going to be making smaller changes, letting them percolate, right? Like sometimes the small changes have way broader impacts than you think about in terms of the meta. So there are some changes coming, but they're going to be smaller in nature, and we're going to be keeping our eye on it.
Okay. Things that have small, impacts. Do you have an update on the desync issue?
I do, yes. So we have a strike team now formed around the desync issues, and we already just put out something in our weekly, which I think came out. Well, by the time the video comes out, it'll be live.
We're living in the past, right?
Yes. And so we already got one major change in there, and we have a lot of smaller changes coming in on the desynced issues, but it is our top priority right now. We have a strike team associated with it.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Yeah, I mean, just real quick on that, I think it's important for players to realize there's not like a desync issue, right? That's like causing everything. It's a bunch of different little changes that have caused the server and the client to sort of be mismatched, and they've got a team now focused on this, and they're going through
it's
them
your
one
fucking
by one.
shoddy ass
fix the
code.
most onerous ones first, the worst ones, and then go down the list. But it's going to take a while to get them all out. But it is
I
a
don't
focus now.
know
They're
the
working on
official
the
release.
big ones up front.
Awesome. Yeah, it sounds like people are investigating. We're hyper looking into it.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Dave V, is there anything you can share about the future of combat that people might not know about yet?
Not too much more than we talked about last time. I think bugs and balance are a big issue for us still, and a big focus for us still. So the desync issue, and I think Dave may be talking about weapon swapping next. Some of those big bugs around combat are a high priority for us. So that is taking a lot of the focus of the team. Balance we're going to continue to looking at. So those are some of the big focuses. On top of that, weapons are still a thing. We are working on, and I think we talked about it last time, Blunderbuss is going to be the next weapon we're releasing. We're heavily working on that. We're playing it a lot internally in the team. It's super fun. Definitely brings a new play style to ranged weapons. So we're working on that on future weapons. So that's the main focus of the team right now.
Yeah, Scott brought it up a little bit earlier.
I don't think they need to be
what
adding
are we
more
doing about the
weapons,
weapon
man.
swap delay that some players are experiencing?
So in our next PTR, we're going to actually have an update for the players to try out. We have a backtick check on our weapon swap now that's going to really help with the confirmation that you have done a swap, basically. So when you hit that button, you're going to know that swap is going to occur, and it's going to be much more reliable than it has been in the past. It is important to note, though, that we do not have instant cancels in for our swaps. That is a big topic for us, and something we're not ready to tackle at the moment. It's quite a game changer if we did that right now. So you will still have to wait for the windows for the weapon swap, but it will be queued up correctly now.
Okay, perfect. Thanks for the update on combat, guys.
Weapon swap,
For this
game
last
changer.
segment, we answered a lot of questions earlier in the show and all the other segments. We were scouring the forums, we were scouring Reddit, social media, so it was from, directly from
they
the
didn't
Mouse
mark
Bar
this
community.
one.
And so for this last segment, I want to throw some grab bag, questions from some of our content creators who are, playing our game a lot. So this first question is going to be for you, Scott. All right, so are there any plans for expanding content in the open world, such as random incursions or events or dynamic events, stuff of that nature?
Yeah, unfortunately I can't get specific, but I think I've said a few times, and I'll say it again, is the more dynamic the world is, the better it is for us. When you revisit places in the world, we want it to feel different and to feel new and fresh and exciting. So this is something we're going to carry on a lot going forward, and you can expect to see future updates to completely support open world gameplay, more dynamic gameplay, for sure.
Okay, great. Dave, this one is for you. Can you talk about the philosophy of bumping gear score so soon?
Yeah. So the reason...
Oh, I'm gonna love hearing this.
The reason we're bumping the gear score now is really to tie in with mutators, right? Like those two features are very well paired. We wanted people to climb the difficulty ranks and increase their gear score as they were doing it. And features like mutators take a long time to build, right? Like it's a complex feature that, involves...
What? You just literally rehash old content and you add like little events that happen within the fucking... What? I guess scalability, right? Like how crazy the mutations are dictates how crazy they are to implement, but we didn't need it.
A lot of the game. So we sort of made this decision based on information a long time ago, and we thought this would be the right decision, to increase gear score and have mutators coming out now. I think if we were making that decision today, I think we see other priorities like some of the bugs and other things that we would focus on, and we might not make that decision today. But just because it's tied with mutators, and we really wanted to get that feature to players, that's why it's happening.
Yeah, anticipating what players want before your game is out in the wild isn't always the easiest thing in the world.
Right.
We have huge conviction around mutators, as a long-term, healthy, really strong feature for New World. But in hindsight, maybe it is a little earlier than it could have been.
Agree.
Okay. Let's see. This one's for you. Are there any
a little bit? The house is on fire. We implemented mutations a little too early.
plan changes or like
Dude,
major
your
overhauls
months are
coming
too
to
early.
war and invasion? How does the team feel about their current state?
Yeah, as a developer, you're never happy with your feature. You always want to make it better. So I think we have a lot of things that will be coming down the pipe, smaller mainly for these ones. Right now, our top priorities are war declaration and some of the war performance. There's definitely some issues there that we've been trying to get better over the time. Is getting a little bit better. We still have a long way to go, though, I think.
Yeah, and I think longer term, no commitment to time
My
or anything here,
my
but
boy Rich
we'd
has
love to see
cotton mouth.
casual
The dude
versions of
needs some
each of those to
soda.
give more players the
Hook 'em
opportunity
up.
to try, some of our backup box features like War and Invasion. I think that'd be really cool, and I have a lot of fun playing them, so I'd like to get.
Boy,
more
you
people
got
in there.
straight
Yeah, that's
cotton
great.
mouth, man.
Dave, the new
He's so
PvP
fucking
missions
blessed,
on
man.
paper looked great, but in reality are some of the more mundane features of the game, considering it's one of the core features. Can we expect some improvement in the PvP missions, or?
Yeah, so I think the changes to the PvP missions, like the actual missions themselves, I do like them better. They're focused more on the actual PvP activity rather than just doing things well flagged. So I think that is an improvement. But yeah, the whole process.
I agree. I agree. As spoiled as I was with the Great Cleave route that you could do back in the day, I 100% agree that being more geared towards actually killing people would make a lot more sense. But the problem is you got to realize when you're pushing a zone, one of the countermeasures is not sending a few people to counter it, right? If you're only sending a few people, you end up feeding one of the PvP missions. If you recapture the fort, it actually helps them with pushing PvP influence. It's shit like that. It's in the right direction. I 100% agree. It's in the right direction, but I think you need events, right? So instead of restricting the way that things are allocated, I think there should be a bunch of PvP missions and a way to encourage players to be in multiple zones. But I guess it also depends on player density, right? Like if you have a really dense population server, then you're more likely to see flagged PvPers in different zones and shit. But right now, from what we see, it's just not enough people are out there doing all sorts of random shit flagged up. So it becomes a lot more complicated to encourage people to be doing the PvP missions. Right now, it's still the same way. If you want to grind out faction points or faction tokens to buy shit, you're still doing Great Cleave. You're still doing the same shit, right? Something that's completely unrelated to PvP, and you're just grinding that out for your fucking tokens. For pushing influence, it's just there's not enough PvP competition to encourage what they're trying to go for. But I agree with pushing in that direction, and it's maybe a third element would make things a lot more supportive of that push. You know what I mean?
So flipping a territory, is a little cumbersome, and a certain part of that is by design, right? We don't want that to be super easy that you can just flip on a whim. Sorry. So yeah, I can understand the feedback here. This is something we're looking at. It's not an immediate priority on something that we're going to be jumping on, but we're going to keep our eyes on it.
Okay. And the open world, the environment of New World is really what makes it fantastic. This person said they'd love to see an arena built into the side of a cliff or a coliseum, similar PvP area where people can watch other people fighting inside. Can we, expect to see some small-scale PvP arenas with maybe matchmaking systems? This is for anybody that wants to answer.
Yeah, I think just to start off, I think our small-scale PvP is one of the best parts of our game. It really shines our combat when we're playing that, and it's something we absolutely want to support. And we do have some things.
I will 100% agree. The most fun I ever had was the battle in Cutlass Keys. I think it was Cutlass Keys. Hold on. No, it was First Light. I think it was First Light. Yeah, it was First Light. So when I was doing First Light and it was like that scrim, you'll see on the live stream, it's one of my not monetized videos where I just have random music fucking play. Like that shit was actually fucking dope. It was like less than 20 people per side and people were brawling it out. It felt so fucking good. It was probably the most fun I've had in New World. But since then, trying to get that feeling again, it's so fucking difficult, bro.
Coming down the pipe. I don't know if anybody go a little further.
I mean, it's pretty early to talk about them, but I think, arenas is something that we're looking into. I think if we do it, or when we do it, it will, likely be in a phased approach, right? Like we will release an early version of it that may not be as fully featured, and we'll continue to grow it over time.
I think what would be really cool instead of arenas is like, yeah, it's the community that makes it. I agree. I think what would be really cool is a game mode 10v10 team deathmatch, right? Where you have like, or you can make it like King of the Hill, right? With team deathmatch built into it, where if you die, you're out, or you have limited revives or some shit. And I think that would be a really interesting game mode. Actually, scratch that. King of the Mountain, unlimited revives, but every time you die, the respawn timer takes longer. So once someone fully caps the fucking midpoint, you win. Right? So there is a strategy of farming out the enemy team just to fucking increase their respawn. I mean, there's so many things that they could do, but I'd rather see the game fixed
like
first.
With all other new features that we might introduce.
Yeah, I'm excited. Like, I would like to be in a fixed where I know it's like 3v3 or 5v5 or whatever the numbers are, PvP experience, because it very rarely ends up that way when you're playing in the open world. So,
yeah, but the people that think they're really good that get thrown into those 3v3s will cry because they realize they're not as good as they thought they were. Yeah, Coliseum. Dude, that shit would be dope, to be honest. You can even throw betting into the game. You know what I mean? You go to a vendor with fucking odds and shit. And then, like, you can queue up for each side. Just make it a big ass fucking arena, right? And then players can come in and people hang out there. It's kind of like the new fucking Everfall and Windsword where people literally just chill out there. And then you'll have like the betting stand. 100% spectating. Where people would be in the stand spectating, and there will be like a little fucking vendor where you can place fucking odds on player 1 or player 2, and then you'll see like a UI where player 1 is this person, player 2 is this person, and then there will be a countdown for 1 minute, and then you see everyone just sitting there watching that shit. Dude, that would be sick. And have it like a bounty where like if you win like 10 games in a row, you get like, I don't know, some odd amount of fucking coin, and anyone can sign up for that shit. It would be fucking dope, dude. That would be dope. Coliseum 100% support that shit. You can do so much cool shit with the Coliseum. And then they can actually take that Roman influence or Spaniard influence that they have right there and crank it up to 1 million, right?
I think it'd be exciting, and you can't hide in a 3v3. So
right. Like what we see, happening in the open world right now, people will create a giant circle and make a fight club of sorts and bracket and all of that stuff. So it's exciting to see it already happening, and that
but did you guys know that they banned a bunch of people doing that because they were giving out rewards? Like that was a real thing. So there was this guy that was organizing like these fight club tournaments and stuff like that, and he was literally just giving gold to the top 3, and he got fucking perma-banned for giving gold. So fucking stupid.
And that we're noticing it.
New island. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying too. And like they would teleport you over there and shit, and people would just be in the stands and shit. I think it would be fucking dope. Milkus, like 100%. I think it would be dope. Like I would love to see them add that kind of shit. Oh my god, dude. What if you could do a couple different arenas, right? You can do like group challenges. You can do like 5v5, 3v3s, and 1v1s, right? And you have 3 different arenas where people can just go fucking sign up. And the more wins in a row you get, Yeah, dude. Ugh. That shit would be so good.
That's great. Thanks for the answer,
That's
Cash.
fucking cash right there. But no,
All right, we covered a
mutations.
lot today, and I think there was some good information that we got out there.
I'm not gonna go with their recap. I'm gonna go with my recap. My recap is we did mutations, increases expertise, like it or not, it's here. We are so-called working on these bugs, even though you won't see them until February. Yeah, 100%. I know what you're talking about. The one with the, is it 3 chests? No. Yeah, I think it's 3 chests. I think there's one on the far left, far right, and in the middle. Right across the bridge. Talking about the cross the bridge. You could actually use both those templates, right? You can have like a small little fucking zone, and you can have that big zone too. Actually, you can even run the entrance when you first get to Imperial Palace for the first time, where you had to walk down the cliff and then you're going across, and then when you cut through that water cavern system, you could actually use that entrance area right there too. You can run all sorts of shit. I think it would be cool with even like a house and shit, so you can like add juking to it. There's so much shit you can do with it. Yeah. Just fucking chilling there. I mean, dude, Imperial Palace is actually pretty dope. I like the Imperial Palace. I don't like the Shatter Mountain too much. I don't know if it's because like I'm over the corruption in fucking Shatter Mountain or whatever, because it's like when you go to the Imperial Palace, things feel like it just hits different. You know what I mean? Like I feel like Shatter Mountain is just like the whole fucking, like the mines is boring, and I think Murkguard is kind of boring. I think Eden's more impressive and enjoyable than fucking mines and Murkguard. That might be a very, what would that minority opinion? Right. I like the fucking Eden Elite Zone, and I like Imperial Palace. Both of those feel really fun. And I feel like with Imperial Palace, it's short and sweet. You know what I mean? And the view is fucking dope. The fucking architecture is dope. Everything about that fucking zone is dope. The fact that when you're running across that fucking mountainside I think there's like 3 houses. You're literally running across a mountain on this fucking bridge that's built into the side of the fucking mountain. And then like there's a complete drop off on the right. That shit's fucking badass, bro. But you don't see that anywhere else. And I don't think a lot of people realize like that's a bridge built into the side of the fucking mountain, dude. That shit's fucking cool. Like, to me, I feel like there's a lot of things that they can do with a lot of zones that they don't take advantage of. And they don't focus on the actual game itself enough as is. They did say that they're going to address a lot of the issues, but a lot of those issues aren't getting addressed until February, man. I don't think this shit's going to survive till February. What language is that, Milkus? Negri di atas awan? What's that? Hold up. Let me see what that phrase translates to. Oh, is that just the identification of the view? Oh, you're Indonesian? What's up? Yeah, I see what you're talking about, bro. Like 100% I'm on that. That viewpoint, especially when you're looking on top of clouds and shit, it's fucking dope. And then when you have situations like this where you're looking on a bed of clouds and then you have this mountain peak peeking over, it's fucking sick. It's like a viewing upon the heavens kind of a status. You know what I mean? It's so cool. You don't get that viewpoint everywhere in the world. There's only like few places in the world that have the kind of altitude to do this. Right? But yeah, man, they need to fix up this game. I think the mutations were just too soon. And they kind of brushed off the bot topics. But I did abuse them quite a bit on the forums about the bots. Like, the fact that bots are not getting checked by in-game GMs, which I feel like is a fucking crime against humanity. And then releasing mutations this early instead of actually focusing on the fluidity of the game is another huge crime. The lag, I'm glad they touched so heavily on the desync because that was like my biggest gripe with them is how much desync that they have, right? The lag needs to be addressed. In OPR, I think raising the Zoth that you need for a brute it's a joke, dude. Like, I don't think I've ever streamed it, but when I ran Musket, dude, I would knock out like 100 kills like it's fucking nothing, dude. You know what I mean? So getting a brute is not that hard at all. Like, it's really not. Anyone that sits there and goes, oh, I'm having problems in OPR, you can literally farm out brutes like it's nobody's business. Like, you can. It's super dummy easy. And if you're having any difficulty whatsoever, check your gear. Like, if you're really low gear, I kind of understand. But then use, what are they called? The corruption tonics and shit? Yeah. Dude, the movement slow. They didn't even talk about that. The movement bug where you have to jump to move and shit. Oh my god, man. Yeah, and they didn't talk about the movement speed either. The life staff shit. Because they had people like fucking zooming around, man. We had to fight the Flash and fucking OPR. Bruh. Did anyone feel that the January update was actually impactful? Let's see what they say on the forums, man. Let's hit up the forums real quick. Let's see what they're saying on the forums. And then we'll hit up dev, what do they call it? The dev update? Oh, fucking fat fingered. Do I need to add January to it? Like, what the fuck's going on, man? Endgame update part 2. People complaining about the fucking expertise shit. I don't think it's invalidating old gear. Hold on. I don't think it's invalidating old gear. I think it's just inflation tax, right? It's gear score inflation tax. This was done 2 days ago. They did talk about 590s being upgradable. I think he didn't. Yeah, he didn't touch on that. He just said, oh, yeah, epics don't get a fucking perk at 600. I heard about that shit. You're not locking players out, right? Because essentially what you're doing the gypsum for is just increasing your fucking your expertise so you can start getting those 600s more like easily. And I think that's might be the hidden intention to the Umbral, because people were complaining a lot that they weren't getting enough 600 drops, right? In PTR? What do you mean in PTR? Well, I mean, that's kind of what they confirmed, right? Then not the extra perk. Right? You're essentially just doing it for the expertise bump. Because one of the biggest gripes that a lot of people have is the fact that they're not getting like 600s, right? You have the max like expertise and you're farming Lazarus and you're farming fucking Genesis like crazy and you're not seeing the fucking weapons. You're not seeing shit. And there's not a lot of zones where you can actually find shit either, right? Because in order to find 600 gear, you have to go to a level 66 elite zone, right? I think you might be able to do 64. Don't quote me on that. But like, there's level 60 elite zones that you go to for your chest runs just for fucking regions and shit. And for the basic fucking upgrades. But like, for example, Sirens, I think Sirens is 61 or 62. So they have like an anchor there that you can't get to 600. Right? You can't get a 600 drop. And it's the same for, actually, I think you can get the shovel though. Because the shovel's at the Eden Grove one. And so I think that one is 66. So you can get a 600 gear score shovel. Right? And I think Baines drops his shovel. But I think he might be under. Because he's kind of outside the lead zone. He's just chilling outside on that wall. I mean, heavily time gating, I think that's a bit of an exaggeration. I think having a little bit of a cooldown is fine. In my opinion, with the mutations coming out, I think they should remove the cooldown on the crafting orbs. Keep the cost, but remove the cooldown, right? If you saw that the cooldowns were removed for crafting orbs and people could fucking pump those bitches out, I think you would see people be a lot less complaining about it, right? And if it's readily accessible, then people will fucking buy into it. And you'll see the prices of the orbs go down too, right? Because right now, most of the cost is actually just the cooldown, right? If I go to sell my orbs right now, me plus Ystera and then 3 randoms, those 3 randoms are paying anywhere between 1.5 to 2k each, which is yielding me 4.5 to 6k, right? Meanwhile, the materials cost to craft it, it's only like fucking 2k, I think. So I think removing the cooldown, you'll see those prices drop quite a bit because people can spam the shit out of them. It'll get more and more closer to the actual cost of the mats, right? Because you can't really charge when everyone can just spam the shit out of those cooldowns. Bots, yeah, they need in-game moderators for that. Right now, they should have in-game moderators right now. Because that's going to be the easiest to implement because you just have someone sign in and start fucking banning bots. Yeah, tax system and RMT is going to be... I mean, dude, fighting RMT is like an uphill or down... Yeah, an uphill battle. Desync issue, yep. Weapon swapping, yep. I mean, it's pretty much essentially the same thing. PvP missions suck. They need to suck less. Good feedback. Yeah, I think Coliseum would be a really nice touch. Anyways, I just wanted to cover the dev stream. I saw it was out, and I've been waiting to watch it just so I can react it with you guys. I mean, it was only like 37 minutes, but most of the shit we've already known, right? They didn't add anything new. I think they don't know what a dev update really does for the community because they could really highlight certain things. They did address certain issues that the community really wanted them to address, but it was only like for 5 seconds. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like pushing off what the community is really asking for them to fix. Rather, like they're just sitting there telling the community, this is what we're gonna do. Right? There's no debate. There's no nothing. There's no sense of justifying the priority. Like, I feel like we're gonna continue seeing more and more issues from a company that doesn't really know how to set up its priorities. But I think I'm gonna call it there. There's other stuff I want to get done today, so I'm gonna catch you guys tomorrow. We're back onto the streaming normal schedule. I had my son an extra day this week. So I'll catch you guys later, and you have a good one. And see you later, Milkus. Have a good one, brother. Later.
Bye-bye.